Welcome to the part two. Um, it's taking me a minute just to get this part two going of the how to that I'm doing here. I'm in a cafe. Please don't mind the sounds of the train on the outside or any other ambient noise around me. I'm going to try to keep the level of my tone of my voice and the level even as best I can. I also don't want to shout. I'm in a public place. So here I've got, and this is the part two to the previous video that I'm still editing. Hopefully by the time anybody sees this, then part one will be up of this original drawing that was done by a friend of mine. So to kind of explain that on the fly, he did it in blue pencil, scanned it, printed it on the Strathmore drawing board, and handed it to me. It had a lot of sort of uh, initial mistakes, um, just minor tweaks that it needed. The studs that need to go here were not itemized. The glove, or yeah, the long glove that the character wears. So this is sort of like a, I don't know, a character out of The Witcher or something like that. A sword and sorcery character with a handful of heads of a werewolf, a zombie, and some poor soul who got his head lopped off in a village somewhere. So all these things had to be atomized. The strands of hair, the sword wasn't aligned to his arm, to his hand. And then here in, I have to actually, on the first video, I know if that was being watched before this, I never finished this side here of the right hand, which has the thumb, and the uh, sword will actually go through here. Actually, be going through underneath his fingers, but through here, and then it will actually overreach his thumb, and his thumb's going to be basically taken out. So that's what I'm here to do on this video. Hopefully this will not take too long. I don't want to make these longer than they need to be. All right, let's just start at the beginning where I left off. Uh, and I am aware of the fact that, again, this was scanned as a blue line file. Uh, this blue line is still visible to a degree, but it's not that important because in my mind's eye, I can see where the guard of the blade would actually is supposed to go, which is here. So as long as I get rid of that part of the, I want to keep something. Okay, let me go into detail here. Something of the thumb sticking up away from the guard. All right, let me see. We're going to give it a sort of a rounded. I don't want, right, one thing that I try to avoid with these drawings, by the way, for anyone out there that's interested in how I do it, is that I just remember certain basic rules that I learned in drawing over the years. There are no straight lines in the human body. Trust me that they're not. You can look it up. You can Google it, DuckDuckGo it, do whatever you must. But I'm telling you, there aren't. Um, so at least not in humanoids. I don't know about some creature from another dimension or another planet sometime in the future. But as for us, we're not created that way. We don't have an angular system to our. And I actually am very. Hold on a second. Let me get this line right. I really enjoy my geometry and my basic math. All right, so as you can see here, hold on a second. And as I meander through these drawings and go through them and describe it to you, I might touch upon a variety of topics. One of them is that I think if you like geometry, then drawing's for you because it comes in handy to know the three, is it three or four basic functions that go into a drawing? The four basic aspects of them, I suppose. Hold on a second, let me get this line right. All right. And I guess I could do it here real quick. It'll be a square, circle, triangle, rectangle. And of course, you can turn the square into a three-dimensional cube. And the cube can become, if you ink it, or in this case, just shade it in, it becomes a sphere. You could do the same with a rectangle and a triangle. And of course, you can turn a rectangle, and by giving it a base here, into a tube or cylinder. properly. I guess my former teachers will be in math and so forth to be happy that I remember that. So yeah. So these figures, these shapes, I should say, I refer to them as figures because sometimes they seem so close to home to me. These are shapes that I'm always contemplating when I look at the world around me and when I'm drawing or illustrating anything, whether it's in pencil or in ink. I just recently watched the video, really, really good. I think it's called Broken Draw. I'm not sure if that's the right title. I shouldn't go into these videos mentioning other channels that I'm, picked up on or I've discovered. I'm sure other people discovered it before I did, but for me, it was a discovery. Um, Again, I'm mindful of my speech cadence here. I'm not trying to talk too fast nor too loud, which is usually a thing for me. So hopefully everyone is keeping up with me, whoever's here or whoever will be here in the future. I was just watching a video, again, shall remain nameless, but was talking about how we shouldn't introduce ourselves in a video for our own channel as to like welcome back and so forth. And I'm like, well, yeah, you could, your third viewer may not be your 4,000th viewer, and maybe they don't need a welcome back, but then that's like, in English, that's like a basic introduction. Hello, welcome back. How are you? you know. So I guess I'll go as I'll go into the walk the median line, and just say, hey, how y'all doing, or how you doing, and welcome aboard, and leave it at that. There's a lot of advice out here on YouTube. Let me check the camera. Hold on, I know it's unsteady. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. All right, we're at the 6 minute mark. Let me get busy here because if you're watching this, that's what you really want to see. Maybe not hear me go on about a variety of different topics. All right, so originally in the drawing, the first video that I did, by the time you see this, hopefully that one will be up. It should be up. I had to re-itemize, let me rephrase that. I had to redraw a partial of the costume. These are the leather straps that go across this warrior's front side. I had to get into the shading and what will actually be shaded and what won't. These lines here denote, actually let me put an X here where my black inks will go. I hope to do a part 3 to this where I start actually inking it. I felt a little bad because I haven't edited the first video, but I left it with a I fixed the scabbard, I did the blade, and of course the hilt of the broadsword, but I forgot to actually do I'm trying to get these lines in here. Sometimes you have these crowded lines when you're drawing something, and it's really kind of annoying, but you still have to get it right because perception is everything when it comes to a three-dimensional drawing on a two-dimensional page. Um, you have to be mindful of what the viewer will actually see when you're done. All right, so I've sort of scrunched in his index finger, his tiny little finger here. The thumb will sort of fade into the background once this is inked. This will be just so it doesn't show when it's printed. If it is ever printed, I'll probably go over it with whiteout, which I use here, or I use a gouache white paint. This Presto will actually work just fine, but I won't go over it now. All right, as you can tell, there was like strands of hair that he had originally drawn here in the blue pencil. I had to get rid of those because they were crowding in the scabbard, and that would not have looked good. All right, so I think we're almost ready to start the inking process. Hold on a second. Like I said, I might do a part 3 for that. I don't want to. I would rather do the, or maybe I'll seamlessly just blend these two videos and edit them together. So I'm learning more and more about how to edit and get this done right for whomever comes by to enjoy this. And again, I always want to stipulate when I do these videos, this is just my way of drawing. It's my thing. I don't tell anyone how to draw, what they should or should not draw. I can only tell you what I do and what I've learned over 30 years of drawing, give or take, and the materials that I use and why. Um, Actually, I have a quick story to tell you all. I was sitting here trying to fidget with the, I hope you can see here what I'm doing with the blade. Actually, the belt. This is a leather belt, but we're going to give it a little brilliant. So these lines right here will denote almost like a reflective surface. We don't want to make it metal, but we want to make it somewhat reflective of light. As you can tell here, this line was originally way out of pocket, as I call it, and this one as well. It made that tongue very unwildly and just unmanageable. Even though it's a creature, a long-tongued, sort of a zombie-looking character. I have no idea exactly what he was going for, and I don't have constant communication with this gentleman, so I had to guess at certain things here by the lines that he had already set down. As I always tell you, previous videos again, we're going back to that, and what I've hopefully there'll be a body of work in the next few weeks and months where this won't be an issue as to me referring to previous videos. But I do a cursive line here, as you can tell, and I try to make sure that even at the juncture where the jaw meets the cheekbone, it is not a straight line. It gives the illusion of being straight, but it's actually a curved line. See? See, I just curved that up. There we go. And well, it is funny to me, but one of the interesting things about the human skeleton is that if you look at one after it's been, cleaned up and polished, if you look at the skull, it looks from afar as if there are some straight lines therein, but that's actually not the case. The occipital region of your brain, or I should say of your skull, is right back here, where I'm pointing out with the pencil. And all of that is a curved surface. All of this will be curved. The front will be curved going backwards, forwards. The sides are curved in right here. I don't like the fact that, hold on a second, the original lines that he put down sort of give the illusion of this being a squared skull, because there's really, unless you're cutting a skull out of some crystalline formation with a modern cutting tool, you're not going to be able to get out of a human-sized skull any straight lines out of that skull. So hopefully this is wrong here. I know this seems, a little, there we go, confounding for some people that such details seem important, but they are, at least to me, when I draw, when I render something, whether it's a comic book drawing or this one character, this fantasy character, or maybe I'm working on, I don't know, a couple or an individual person's portrait. Those details matter. All right, let's go for this here. I'm going to have to get inventive here. He gave the illusion that he had, the idea that he had, well, here we have some, they're not spokes, but they're these sort of tiny little, okay. He wanted to have these studs. That's what they are. Sometimes I'm at a loss for words for all the details that come with these sort of fantasy characters' costumes, and I just have to ad-lib it as best I can. All right, let me see if I can do this right. Let me know in the comment section if you're in there, if you're here with me at whatever future date watching this, what you think of this. Okay, so right here I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the second one is completely off. I know that seems obsessive perhaps to some people, but I like an equal spatiality, an equal space between the studs. It just makes them look better, as if someone had actually taken the time to create that leather strap that this character bought in some village somewhere or traded for it. And it's just more fun that way. It calls me to task to get my drawings, get my stuff right. say what I'm gonna do uh, do what I said I was gonna do, and do it to the best of my ability. I mean, I try to take that general concept to work every day when I go there, and I do it with my art as well. My art as well. Excuse me. Uh, it's still winter time, and my allergies are having a field day with me. Oh, that's not gonna work. So this stud would actually go into this belt buckle. We want to itemize the belt buckle. We're gonna make a small stud there. That by turn will make the other stud smaller. And I'm just eyeballing these, okay? I'm not using a device circle, one of the plastic circle templates. A lot of this was just better done by hand. Is that more? It has a more organic feel to it. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, I think I'm ready to let it out some inking. Hold on a second. All right, we're gonna pause it here. We'll go to part 4 in just a few seconds for me. Might be a couple of days, a couple of minutes, or a couple of months for you all. All right, here we go. See you on the next one. Part 3.